I'm C4ing the shit out of him. Knock him. No, I eliminated. What is going on, boys and girls? It's your boy, T-Mac Gamble, coming at you with yet another fresh video. As you know, I'm putting out new fresh content all the time, so don't forget to like and subscribe. It's 2 clicks, it takes 2 seconds, and that's just really good karma, which who doesn't want good karma? You might as well go ahead and do it. So without any further delays, why don't we jump right into today's video. What is going on, boys and girls? We've got yet another fresh video for you. And I know I've been mentioning in this channel that I wanted to stick to mostly to tips and tricks videos. I know we've been going over some of my gameplay footage. I've been doing some commentaries over those. But I wanted to bring you guys a straight up tips video. And in this video today, we're going to be going over the absolute basic fundamentals of building. Just a few of the ground level techniques you're going to need to know to stay alive. And if you don't know any of these, you're probably a little bit behind the curve, but this should help you with your building immensely if you're not implementing some of these tips and tricks. So the first thing I want to talk about is boxing up. Box fights and being able to box has sort of been the meta for the last couple seasons. Obviously, if you're going to be in Fortnite, you're going to be getting shot at. When that happens, you need to be able to build some defensive walls to protect yourself. So that's what we're going to be talking about in the first part of this video. And if you take a look right there, I am destroying what is actually the easiest, simplest way to box up. You can do this with one piece just by throwing a cone over yourself. It gives you 360-degree cover. The only problem is it doesn't give you a lot of room to move around or get out of that cone. There are obviously some edits you can do to decone yourself, or you could just break out. But you probably want a bigger, better, more permanent structure. So you can see here, obviously, coning myself up. All I'm using is 10 mats. It is the least amount of mats you can possibly use to have 360-degree cover, just throwing a cone over your head like that. Now, the more common way to box up, which we're going to get into, is, actually, you know what? I want to show you guys the edit out of this cone first, so let's get that going. And one thing I want to say about this edit right here is you'll notice it's just one corner edit on the cone, and that gives you cover in most of the directions. You're only exposed from 2 angles. You've got a little bit of top cover. It's a really good edit that I don't see people using nearly as much as I think I should. Especially when you're on the top of a box and you're trying to get some high ground peaks, that cone edit is really helpful. And you guys can also see there the second edit you can make off of this cone piece is a 2-corner edit, which is going to give you just a straight up ramp, exactly like a staircase. So I think that's enough of talking about the triangle box. Let's get into the more classic box. So the classic box is actually just 4 walls thrown up all around you. Really simple. You can see it right there. Obviously, this is going to use 40 materials instead of the 10 that the triangle box is going to do, but it does give you a lot more mobility. There are a lot more options to break out. Obviously, it's not just one piece. You can edit a wall, you can edit a door, you can edit out the top, you can edit out the bottom if you're on high ground. It does give you more angles. Now, one thing you want to do as well is always cover the top of your box. If you're, obviously going for high ground, this isn't going to matter so much. But just in my experience, anytime I am in a box trying to heal up and I leave the top uncovered, it seems like somebody manages to get above me and just shoots right down and ends up taking a kill on me. So on top of putting the roof on the box, you notice I can lay the floor as a roof. I can also lay a cone on top of that to give it even more support. One other thing that's a really good habit to get into, if you have the mats to spare, is put a cone in your box. What this does is it gives you a few different peak angles. You're not just going to be flat-footed in the box. You can duck under a corner of that cone and kind of get some extra cover. You can edit it to protect yourself from a side if one of your walls gets taken. What this does more importantly, though, is it does not allow any other players to put pieces into your box. So some of you may not know what the Mongrel Classic is, and Mongrel is an amazing pro player. One of his classic moves is to throw a staircase into a player's box, edit it, and then what happens is that player is so confused, they don't know where he is, they don't know what's going on. It makes it a really easy fight for Mongrel to take. So what you do instead is you put a cone in your box and you protect yourself from having that happen to you. And there you go. You can see there's, you can edit doors to get up the side of your boxes. There's obviously a number of different ways you can have some fun, but obviously that's a really important strategy for keeping yourself protected when you're getting fired on. So the next important building technique you guys need to learn is what's called cranking 90s. And what this technique does is it allows you to get high ground, which is really, really important in fights. When you have an elevated view over everything else happening, it's easier for you to, catch opponents pushing you. It's easier for you to hit your shots. It's harder for people to hit you when you're well above them. It just gives you a lot of natural advantages. So if you've been watching in the background, what I'm doing here is just the most basic way that you can get yourself to height and crank some 90s. So what you do is you basically just throw a floor down. You're going to jump, you're going to throw a staircase, and then you're just going to keep doing that. And what will happen, you'll notice when I start doing this well and quick enough, I'm actually phasing through my floor, I'm phasing through my stairs, and you're jumping up really, really quickly. You're gaining height very, very fast. So I know I've had this clip slowed down. I've only been at this maybe a second or two, but when I jump off, you're going to see I've got this tower that's probably about 5-6 stories high. So I'm going to jump down here. Let's take a quick look and see that. And keep in mind, that was just like a quick second or two of me throwing those 90s up. And look how tall that structure is. Obviously, if you're up top of there, you're going to have a really good vantage point. Be able to see anybody trying to press you and be able to get your shots off pretty good. Now, there is one major problem to cranking 90s like this, and that's, well, you've done a great job of getting height for yourself. It is really easy to shoot out a structure that's only connected by one piece to the ground. It's not very, very solid. So we want to find a way to fix that. And the way we do that is we start throwing walls up around us. So it's basically going to be like you're building yourself, you're boxing in, but then you're going to throw the floor piece down, you're going to throw your ramp down, and you're going to throw your walls all around. And you'll see I'm doing the exact same thing I was before. It's a little slower, it's using more mats, but I've also got a lot more cover. I'm protected for more sides. This structure is going to be way more solid and way more difficult to shoot out. And let's take a quick look at that so you can see here. Obviously, we got up pretty fast. I can take out this wall. I can take out that side wall. Like, no one piece in particular is going to cause the entire structure to crumble. There's a lot of things keeping everything connected, so you can see I can shoot out tons and tons of walls before I actually manage to destroy the structure. It's going to hold up a lot better than just the ceiling ramp method that I showed in the first example. This next technique I want to teach you guys is called double ramping. It's really straightforward and simple. You'll notice I'm standing at the side of one ramp, and as I'm going up, I'm trying to build my ramps too wide instead of just ramping straight up with a single ramps. What this does is it makes it, again, a lot easier for somebody, or a lot more difficult for somebody to shoot you out because they have to take both ramp pieces. They can't just shoot out the one ramp and have the whole thing come down. You've got more stability at your base. Now you can see here, one thing that I was doing earlier is when I was doing my ramps, I was not only ramping on the floor in front of me, but I was throwing a ramp behind me as well. And what you can do is you can look up and down, up and down. This is another method of ramping that keeps you more covered. It's really kind of difficult to do the double wide ramp when you're trying to tarp with a ramp behind you and above as well. But what you can do is if you're not going to use that double ramp over your head method, you can go double wide and you can be building walls as you go to make sure that your structure gets as much reinforcement as possible. You can even go like there, you're going to go floor piece, stair piece, ramp, floor piece, stair piece, ramp, and you can get these triangle boxes that are going to keep your ramp a lot stronger. I'm just going to jump down here so that you guys can take a look and see what I mean, but right there, because this is single wide instead of double wide, it's not too hard to shoot it out, and that's why I was talking about doing the double wide ramps. When you add the extra walls and floors, you can see all the reinforcements. Like it's almost impossible for me to shoot this structure out because of the way it's been built. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're short on materials, you don't want to be double wide ramping. You don't want to be boxing with your ramps. You obviously want to conserve materials when you're low, but if you have the materials to use, take advantage of them. There's no sense in dying, with a full set of materials when you could have, just built some cover, reinforced some building, and kept yourself safe. So the last technique I want to cover is called tarping or tunneling. And as the name suggests, this is a way of moving with something over your head so that you're safe, you're being protected, you're not going to give an enemy an opportunity, a chance to take a shot at you. So there's a couple different ways of doing this. The most basic one is out of your box, you're going to place a floor piece above you as a ceiling, and then walls to either side, and you're just going to keep kind of moving like that. And you can tell I need a little bit of practice here, which is another great tip. You'll notice I'm in creative. I'm on my own little island. This is a great way. Just give yourself unlimited mats. Practice your building techniques. Tunneling or tarping is one that I definitely need to work on. You can see it's not the cleanest or smoothest. I can still pull it off, but yeah, it's a really great technique to keep yourself safe while you're moving. And what you'll see is that whole wall is there. If I was an enemy player trying to shoot myself while I was doing that build and that run, I'm going to get nothing but walls every time. He's just going to be able to keep going and going. So if you're really, really quick at that, you're going to be able to move around without even taking a single shot. It also gives you really great piece control. If you have all those builds, it's going to be a lot harder for enemies to come box fight you there because you already control all the walls and all the pieces. Well, boys and girls, I want you to thank you for sticking around to the end. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.